And then he stopped responding.
I'm listening to this this video, and there's probably over 100 women that they polled, or they're asking questions about why women do not want to vote or don't want to date MAGA men or men who supported Trump. I want to replay this. I want to go to the beginning, and I want you to hear what all of these women are saying, because these MAGA supporting men, supposedly conservatives, right, think that they're going to force women to be with them. You got to hear this shit. It is fucking unbelievable. And when I say unbelievable, I am not fucking joking. So I'm going to start from the beginning. I'm putting my mouth guard back in, but I want you to hear this because this is fucking unbelievable. It is fucking shocking and fucking unbelievable. Just a minute. Trying to get my thing together. Let me get my watch out of here. Remote's out of here. Because I want to be able to let you hear this properly. All right. I'm going to replay this, and I want you to hear all of this.
Tell a story about why a Trump vote is the ultimate dating deal breaker for many women. This is a compilation of videos we created on this channel this year from women that refuse to date men that support Donald Trump and MAGA.
And can you imagine fumbling multiple generations of women, all because you think that they shouldn't have bodily autonomy?
Across the country, more and more women are making one thing clear. A vote for Trump is a deal breaker. Dating apps,
just know this.
Long-term relationships, everything is shifting.
My mouth guard out.
Video, you'll hear real
this
stories
is why
from
Trump is trying so hard
this choice matters.
To stop the female vote
closely.
or the women's vote in America.
May surprise you.
Because none of these women want anything to do with these fucking dudes.
My politics are like stopping me from getting laid, because when women find out that I just don't think they should have like rights, and I just perceive them as like walking baby machines or sex objects, then they don't like me anymore and they don't want to have sex with me. So like, can we just talk about something else? No. We're gonna talk about this, and you're gonna have to explain yourself.
Do you consent to a second date? Do I have a last question? Who did you vote for? Heart is broken. I enjoyed my evening with you, but I have to stick to my morals and my principles.
And this is why conservative men are having the toughest time dating right now, because never before has your vote told a woman
so much about
what she needs to know about you. She doesn't have to wonder if you're a misogynist. You voted for one. She doesn't have to ask you, how do you feel about women's rights, immigration, Medicare, Social Security, free lunch for low-income kids, racism, feminism. Without even having to go on a single date with you, you told her everything she needs to know. That's why that woman only needed to hear you answer that question for her to realize it's a hard pass. And a lot of women are giving you men a hard pass for the same reason. Because even if you say, no, I did it because of the economy, what you're saying is profits over people. You're saying even if you have more than enough, you wouldn't dare help somebody who needs it.
Tell me, what are some of those red flags? They have strong values. I'm Republican. Conservative. Yeah. Conservative values, Christian values. Okay. Very important. Okay.
Recent articles show that Trump staffers in D.C. are having a hard time finding dates. Again, yeah, this happened in his first term, too. And there's something deeply ironic about a party pushing for a conservative baby-making agenda that can't get laid. But all jokes aside, I really think that the biblical traditional family push and the inability to find partners are linked. Because while women are constantly blamed for the falling birth rate and marriage rates, etc., at the end of the day, this has to do with male loneliness. Yeah, patriarchy bites men in the ass, too. Did you not see Barbie? We all know that dating is more partisan than ever. In D.C. alone, the number of singles who want to match within their own party jumped from 45% to 58% after inauguration. Across the country, 7 73% of college-educated women are less likely to date a Trump supporter, and more men are going right and women going left. So even if MAGA is in the majority, straight young men are left with fewer and fewer options to date. I mean, this was obvious even a few years ago when apps like The Right Stuff couldn't even get female users, not even when they offered free premium subscriptions. So men's only community becomes this echo chamber of hating women who won't date them and masculinity. The thing is, their version of masculinity usually just means dominance.
They speak liberal, they have liberal friends, and then they go online and they are a white supremacist.
Mm-hmm.
This is Vera Papasova. She spent the last year dating far-right men in New York City for a story for Cosmopolitan magazine.
They're the most insecure men I've ever sat down with. It was really difficult to have some of these dates because they were so insecure, because they don't really know who they are and they don't know how to figure that out.
She said the men she dated got all their news and information from the so-called manosphere.
They did not listen to anything else. They're only listening to independent media, and they're only listening to men talking to men. They love the UFC guys. They love the MMA guys because those guys do what they can. They're modern gladiators. They're badass.
What's up with guys trying to hide their political preference these days? Like, I've got a friend and she was going to go on a date with this guy. We found his Instagram. His whole closet is, what's it called? Like wolves, not sheep. Like super right wing. All of his posts are American flag related, whatever. She asks him where he stands and he's like, oh, I'm not political. Your Instagram says otherwise. Your story post about Donald Trump and Elon Musk and this and that says otherwise. Like, stand on business if you're about it. But as soon as you want to go on a date with a girl, it's, I'm apolitical, I'm not
What? There's
really
not
all
enough
that,
of these
I don't know
fucking
what's going
crazy
on.
ass fucking
All parties are the same.
Pam Bondis out
Really?
there for these motherfuckers?
I thought we were wolves, not sheep. Like, what's up with that?
Order today, and we'll ship it to you today. Don't miss out on your chance to own this incredible limited edition engine.
If you voted for somebody who repeatedly bashes marginalized groups of people, bashes minorities, bashes women, has no respect for them at all, yeah, that says a lot about your character, and that's unattractive to most women because that's an ugly trait to have. It shows that you condone those behaviors. Young women are shifting more left, and if you continuously shift more right in response to that rhetoric, then yeah, it makes you more unattractive to them.
Being a straight white dude that likes Trump but is only into liberal women is a lot like being in the closet. Because it's like they're going to ask you about it eventually. And you have to say what we all say, which is, yeah, I don't really follow politics. But, like, there's levels to this, man. You got to be discreet. You got to be really good at it. And it's not that hard once you get used to it. You just, like, lie a lot. And you can just lie really well to liberal women and just, like, make them think that you
They act like
really
we
into
don't know they're
politics, and,
liars.
everything works out. It's totally fine.
I don't think I need to waste my breath explaining why what he is suggesting is unethical and wrong, and moreover, why multiple men saying things like this online is actually backing up the claims liberal women make about Trump and the kinds of men who would support him. If you are starting off a relationship based on lies, particularly lies around your core values, then you are foregoing her ability to actually consent to you, and you are a sleaze.
The way that young men in this country got it into their heads that voting for Trump and voting against the rights of women would make them tough guys, so bonkers to me. Nothing could be further from the truth. And I know a lot of you are going to say 52% of white women voted for Trump too, and 52% of white women should cross to the other side of the fucking street if they see me coming. I will deal with them in my own way. But right now, I want to speak to the young men. And I just want to ask, do you think that the Punisher would be okay with the government trying to control his wife's body? Seriously, this is a thought experiment. Do you think Frank Castle, the Punisher, the super tough badass you all pretend to be in your fantasies, do you think he would just sit back and take it when the government tried to control his wife's body? Or another one of your heroes, do you think Thomas Shelby would be okay with men in power forcing the woman he loves into a life-threatening medical procedure that she doesn't want?
Exactly.
Do you think that John Wick would be okay watching his wife bleed out from a miscarriage in a fucking parking lot because she can't get a termination of pregnancy procedure to save her life? Because I don't think they would.
What's your political identification?
I would consider myself a left-leaning moderate.
And how do you feel about Republicans?
I think there's a big difference between Republicans and Trump supporters, though.
What's the difference?
I think that Republicans kind of pride themselves on conservative values. I don't think they run on hate, but in contrast, I do think the Trump campaign runs itself on hate.
And would you be friends with a Trump supporter?
Yes, only if they were receptive to education.
And would you date one?
No.
Why not?
I am a pansexual woman of color, and I think from what I have seen in the Trump campaign, I don't think I could be with someone whose values ever aligned with those. I just think that would be really disrespectful to myself.
So you know how there are those people who are breaking up with their boyfriends because their boyfriends voted for Trump and everybody's like, oh, well, it's just politics. People can have differing opinions. No. Yes, people can have different opinions, but not when it comes to human rights. Like different opinions when it comes to like pizza toppings or like what's your favorite ice cream flavor or like what's your favorite color. Like different opinions, yeah, that's completely valid. Like you can't be racist or sexist or homophobic and just be like, oh well, it's just my opinion. Like no, it's not an opinion. It's just you're just being a bigot.
Need the Republican men to hop on their burners and give me a quick explanation as to why they won't stick to their own kind. I live in Washington, D.C., and with every new administration comes new people. And one would think with a whole, 92% thing and just, the general partisan makeup of this city, very Democratic, one would just assume where I stood. Also, I'm not walking around town in a cheap poly-blend suit wearing a cubic zirconian cross around my neck. Those are your people. Those are your girls. But okay, fine. Approach me. One cannot blame you for having taste. When I make it clear where I stand, and then I ask you where you stand, why the beating around the bush? Why the avoidance? In general, what is the obsession with wanting to date liberal women? Liberal men aren't going after conservative women. Conservative women, does this not piss you off? You don't have liberal men pretending like they voted for Trump in order to get you out on a date, to buy you dinner. Why do conservative men do this?
By now, everyone has seen or heard of the fact that conservative men are struggling in dating in this political climate. Here's a fucking thought. Change your mind. Be open to changing your mind. It's not that deep. I know mommy and daddy will be very upset if you so much
It's
as
a
open your
video
mind even slightly, but it's
of women who are approached by MAGA men, and the MAGA men can't understand why these women don't want to date them.
And I have a one up on
And
that.
I'm
If
just
I see
playing
if a
why
man is
they
a
don't
double
want to
C, I
date
call it a
them.
double hit, a Christian conservative? Fuck no. Because that doesn't happen overnight. That goes to show me that you come from a long line of Christian nationalists who are on board with Project 2025. That's immediately what I jump to. That tells me it's not just you, it's me. Because we would not get along. I would open my mouth and you'd be leaving the dining room table. It's all right. It's all right. We'll just move along. Number two, these men don't even know what they believe. They don't even know what they believe. I saw a quote the other day. Can't even remember where I heard it, but it was someone saying that there's a difference between what you are taught and what you believe. And I find that through and through with these conservative men. These conservative men oftentimes have no idea what they even believe in, because I no longer argue with people on either far side of the aisle because they're just too far gone. So what I do is ask why.
Last Four saw all those fake ads that looked so fun and actually turned it into a game. If you download and it isn't
Why? What policies, what procedures, what evidence suggests that that was a good move have you found? That that's a good reason to do that? And they can never answer me. They can never answer me. Or the answer is solely lied in hating on the other side. So when you ask a conservative man about a policy and he talks about, well, fucking Joe Biden, fuck Joe Biden. I'm like, okay, yup. Joe Biden's a war criminal. Like, we get that. Like, he needs to be impeached. He doesn't even know where he is. He just roombas around. We get it. But what will your side do to fix that? All of it. Always Hunter Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Hillary Clinton. Like, can we just fucking get over that? My God. And Obama.
Nobody
too.
makes more excuses for inadequacies and not being able to solve problems than these MAGAs. Nobody's more like that.
Hating the other side, your political opinion is null and void to me. You literally, you don't even have a political opinion to me. You don't even get to have a political opinion. They're that political alliance because it is the alpha male thing to do. It is beta to be a liberal man. It is rooted in hating and control of women. And that is the only thing that they have to hold on to in that political alliance. Women are going to have political opinions. We're going to have strong ones. It's not the 1950s no longer, bruv. No longer. And I will not shut my mouth. I will never shut my mouth. And I will absolutely not shut my mouth for a man. We are out here begging men to take a look in the mirror, and they are not, and they will not.
For many women, it's not just politics, it's values, safety, and respect. They're seeing red flags in beliefs, behavior, and attitudes tied to the MAGA movement. These stories reveal why a simple vote has become a defining line in modern dating.
Men don't hate powerful women. They want to domesticate us. In the same way that they see a wild animal that they want to turn into a house pet, that is what they want to do to women who are against the status quo. Women who are outspoken, who have a lot of money, and who do things that are not associated with traditional femininity are absolutely a threat to men. Which is why you will see so many conservative men constantly swiping on liberal women on dating apps. They know that we want nothing to do with them, and they see that as a challenge. Because their ultimate goal isn't just to find a wife. They don't want someone who already loves them and is already subservient to them. Instead, they want to take a woman who would never consider that lifestyle and break her down to the point where she is then his servant, where she cooks all his meals, where she stays in the home, where she births his kids. That is their fantasy. And that is why right-wing, red pill content is so popular right now. Because at the end of the day, they have a white knight fucking fantasy that they can go in and rescue women from all their responsibilities and tame them and get them to behave like true women. And that's fucking disgusting. And that is why we'll
But
never,
can they
ever go
actually
back on
do
a
that?
dating app
Because they
every
complain
single
about
man that swipes on
having
me
to pay
falls
the
into this
bills,
category.
and they complain about having to hold the household. So even though they might say they want that, they don't want that. These red pillars don't want to pay
and I were
for
having a
shit.
conversation, and she was still adamant that this man that she wants to set me up with would be perfect for me, and we would be a perfect couple if I could just get over this one little thing. And I said, it's not a little thing, it's a huge thing. It's a deal breaker for me, absolutely. And she just kept telling me that I was being too close-minded. And I said, absolutely not. I'm not being close-minded because it's a deal breaker. He voted for a rapist, which tells me that he is willing to bend on morals and values that I hold dear. And he's willing to allow someone to break the law and assault people because it will still benefit him in some way. So he's willing to vote for a rapist because he's still going to financially benefit from the taxes that Trump has. I don't want to be around someone like that. It tells me I'm not safe around that person because that's not a deal breaker for him. My daughters aren't safe around that person because that's not a deal breaker for him. I said it's not being closed-minded to have a boundary that anyone who's willing to compromise morals and values and anyone who's willing to accept sexual assault on women, racism, misogyny, homophobia, all of these things. If someone's willing to accept those things from a person because they're going to benefit in some way, I don't want to be around those people. They're not safe. I'm not safe around them. Neither are my kids. So I guess I'll be a close-minded motherfucker because I am not entertaining or dating anyone who voted for Trump.
So you'd never give a MAGA man a chance?
No. Are you a MAGA man?
I wouldn't say I'm MAGA, but I do support conservative values.
Okay.
I agree with the deportations, though.
Yeah. Wait, you agree that they should be deported?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh.
Let me take my mouth guard out. He says he supports conservative values. At this point, knowing all the things that have happened in this administration, what are those values? What does he consider values? Because they're allowing, the pedophilic behavior of that party, of MAGA. They condone little girls being raped and molested and things like that. They're condoning violence, on different nationalities or ethnicities of people. They're condoning, ripping families apart. They're condoning a lot of things. So can somebody tell me what those traditional conservative values actually mean? Because to me, they don't mean shit. There is no fucking values. What values? That fucking parroting the fucking conversation of conservative values, it's all bullshit. There's no values. They have no values and they have no fucking morality.
Illegals. 100%.
Well, everybody's illegal. It's a stolen land.
So I've been posting a lot about the political tensions of young people today, where young liberal women do not want to date young conservative men. And I get a lot of angry comments from men who say, young women think that they don't want conservative men, but they're wrong. So let's talk for a minute about what it is that women are actually looking for from their partners today. The dating app Hinge just released some data a couple weeks ago talking about what women are looking for from a partner. And they report that the top 3 characteristics of a high-value partner for a woman include being emotionally available, being responsive to and acknowledging their emotional needs, and being a consistent communicator. Women are simply looking for emotional intelligence from their partner. Women were also asked about the expectations they had around financial contributions of a partner, and only 8% of women indicated that they expected their partner to be the sole financial provider in the relationship. The vast majority of women simply expect men to contribute financially to the relationship. So this trope that men need to be the providers in relationships is deeply outdated. Women do not want this big, strong man who needs to be dominant and who provides in the relationship. Women are simply looking for effort, looking for emotional intelligence. They're looking for someone who's going to show up and contribute in the relationship. They don't want to be your mom. Instead of telling women that they're wrong about what they actually want, you should try and listen a little bit harder about what it is that they say. This gets back a little bit to this idea that women want men who are going to value their thoughts, feelings, and opinions. If you don't see women as people, they're not going to want to date you.
If he was conservative, would you be able to like date him?
What do you mean? I can't date a Republican conservative man. You're talking to a brown woman. You fucking Palestine then.
You could date a conservative man. It's just like at the end of the day, it's like, do you still believe in the same social issues that I do? What is your main focus and why are you voting for the Conservative Party?
The good thing most women don't want to date Trump voters. Men who love Donald Trump struggle on the dating market.
Oh, 100%. If we see a man who says he's conservative, it is an automatic swipe left. It does not matter what he looks like. And me personally, at this point, if I see a man listed as moderate as well, it's usually a swipe left too. Because we all know what that usually means now. I think the fact that conservative men absolutely refuse to listen to women when we try to explain to them why we don't want to date conservative men, and then they choose to proceed to be conservative, and then immediately complain that they're confused as to why women don't want to date them, and they don't know why, is an ironic, perfect embodiment of like the lack of critical thinking and self-awareness. You know, like the ability to step outside of your own experience and listen to others, that the Conservative Party embodies as a whole, making a lot of women like me not want to date them. And a lot of this is trending in the news right now because the Conservative Party is about to launch their new dating app called The Right Stuff, in which I'm willing to bet every penny that I've ever made that the usership of this app is going to be about 90% men and 10% women with Lynn as the second part of their name. And I know the immediate complaint is always, y'all are so close-minded to anything, which embodies a lot of irony coming from the right alone. But that's not true. One of my best friends used to be moderate, and our friendship ended for different reasons, kind of. But a lot of his close friends were conservative men, so anytime I would go hang out with him and hang at the house, you know, there were a lot of those guys around. And we'd all hang out and get along really well and talk about a lot of these topics very respectfully, and I really value all the conversations we had because they were great guys to have conversations with. To the point where I almost got drinks with one of them to hang out and catch up not too long ago. But when it comes to a partner or a life partner especially, those things become exponentially more important to have in alignment. At the end of the day, if you're someone who's voting against my rights and my family members' rights, that means that you don't think that we deserve to have the same rights as you. And I would never date someone who doesn't see me and my family members as equals.
There is an epidemic of conservative men trying to bait and switch strong progressive women into being with them. And I know I'm not the first person to talk about this, but I'm just going to share with you a conversation that I had today. So a couple nights ago, I was back on dating apps, and honestly, that's on me. I usually have them turned off, but I was curious. So I took a peek and I matched with a guy and we started talking. And in my bio, I have listed that I have very high standards for men these days. I say that I have worked really hard to build a life that I'm really happy with, and I'm really only interested in meeting men who are willing to meet me on my level.
I just got to say this, listening to all these women. If you can boycott a corporation like Disney and Walmart and Target for not aligning with your values, why can't you boycott these dating fucking apps? Why can't you just pull all of your information off these dating apps and go black and not show anything when it comes to these type of men and just cut the connections? I just don't understand that. I don't understand that just going black on these dating apps. The same way that you would boycott all these corporations, do that on these dating apps as well.
Also have in my bio, absolutely no MAGA. That's the exact wording. I'm very clear about it. So we start talking and he asks me about these high standards of mine. And I said, well, I could share them all with you, but it might scare you off. And he said, send them to me. I can handle it. So I did. And there are probably 40 items on this list. One of them, by the way, is that I'm looking for a liberal or leftist guy. And some of these things on this list are things that I'm willing to be a little flexible on. Some of them are really hard limits, but they're all things that I'm looking for in my ideal man. So he responds and says, okay, I can agree with you on most of this.
Let me say this as well. The one man on here who said he was ultra conservative, right? And a Trump supporter. And he blatantly said, I just lie. What makes these women think that a lot of these men on these dating apps aren't doing exactly what he did? He said he lies to these women. He lies about who he voted for, and he lies to these women about all these different things. That's what he said. So why do these women think that even if the man is claiming he didn't vote for Trump, that he wouldn't be lying? Because that man said he voted for Trump, and he lies to women when he dates.
Things. And I said, okay, which things don't you agree with? And he said, oh, it's not that I don't agree. It's just that I have a couple questions on a couple things. And I said, ask your questions. Go ahead. Let's hear them. And he sent me his questions about a couple specific things on the list. And I answered them as fully as I could. And then he sends me this. Surely you jest. What on earth gave you the impression that I was into being a traditional wife? What about my bio? What about everything on that list? What about just the way I've been talking to you, sir? Mind you, this man's bio says that he's the total package, which I was already heavily skeptical of, but I thought I'd give him the benefit of the doubt. Says that he cooks and cleans and takes care of the house and his cat. So it's taken him a whopping 15 minutes to reveal that's a total lie, and that he's looking for someone to do all these things for him. So I tell him that I have zero interest in being a 50s housewife or someone's bang maid. I said that I'm very independent. I own my own home. I have a lot of friends. I have a lot of hobbies. I'm reiterating what I said in my bio at this point, but I said that I'm very ambitious, and that's not what I'm looking for. And I'm more than willing to do half the laundry and half the cleaning and half the cooking, but I want someone who's a true partner. And then this happens. And then he stopped responding, which was a little disappointing. I was kind of interested to see how much farther down his throat he could stick his own foot. But I was disgusted by this. This isn't the only time I've had a guy like this try to dupe me into being with him. And I've gotten faster and faster at sniffing them out pretty darn quickly. But I just never cease to be amazed that these men think, what, we're going to fall for them and give up all of our goals and standards and ambitions to be with this person, to be with a man? What? I could live 1,000 lifetimes and not want to spend one of them cleaning up after a man. Absolutely not. I am incredibly smart. I am incredibly driven. I have so much going for me in my life. If the choice is between be with someone and cook and clean and do their laundry for them all the time and be on my own, there's no competition here. It's not even a choice. I am perfectly happy on my own. Why would I give that up to be your maid and your mother? Absolutely not. Get out. I don't know what these men are after. I don't know why there are so many of them and why they seem to be increasing.
Not just maid and mother, but punching bag and other things that are abusive. I just did a video on these men. It's some kind of trend where they destroy what their wives or girlfriends are making, like puzzles and paintings and things like that. And they're smirking on camera. So being abusive too. Just being all around abusive. That's what they're looking for. Somebody to take all their fucking frustrations out on. Don't be that. Don't be that person that is their punching bag.
Number. I don't know why they think they're being so sneaky. They're not. It's actually quite easy to figure you out and what you're after. I don't know why you think we're going to fall for you, but it's just a really unsettling, pretty disturbing trend that I know many other people have noticed. And I don't really know what to do about it.
And can you imagine fumbling multiple generations of women all because you think that they shouldn't have bodily autonomy? Multiple dating apps since 2021 have come out saying that women will not date conservative men. Like 55 to 77% of women on their apps say it's a deal breaker. All because these bozos just had to vote for somebody who's found liable for SA. Ladies, I think we can do better with those numbers. And if you agree, make sure to hit all the buttons. Leave a comment if you have also sworn off conservative men.
What we're seeing isn't just a dating trend, it's a cultural shift. Women across America are refusing to compromise on their values, their rights, and their safety. A Trump vote represents more than a political choice. For many, it signals beliefs that conflict with equality, empathy, and respect in relationships. These voices matter because they reveal what women are no longer willing to tolerate. If these stories resonated with you, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to keep the conversation going. And click the video on your screen to hear more powerful perspectives shaping today's relationships.
Ladies, I don't think you understand the amount of social capital that you hold. By continuing to date these Republican men or not political or didn't vote guys, you are inadvertently supporting this movement with one, your body and your affection, and two, not allowing these men, usually who I'm speaking on, men, to understand the consequences of their actions.
It's almost 2026, and politics is shaping more than elections. It's reshaping relationships. Today, we dive into real stories from people navigating love across political lines. Listen closely as they share their experiences and ask the question, can dating across the aisle really work in 2026?
No. Shit. Hold on.
I was in prison with my smile, basically. Locked up for years. I found Dr. God 6.
I had a friend.
So this is what I want to say. Maybe in the time of the Bushes, you know, you could go political lines, right? Maybe in that era, you could go across political lines. But the MAGA Republican Party now has stooped so low and has done such horrific things that it really is a defining line. It's almost like it's almost biblical. It's almost like the story of Mary Magdalene and Jesus putting a line in the sand to all the men that wanted to stone her to death, and him saying, "He without sin cast the first stone." This is so biblically transparent when it comes to men and their values that you can't cross the line as a woman. You cannot cross party lines and be dating a guy like this. You can't. You can't. The more things that come out about Trump, and they continue to support him with all the things that are coming out, it's very defining.
Asked me today if I could ever date someone with different political views than mine. And even like 5 years ago, I would say maybe if we could compromise on different things, agree to disagree. But honestly, nowadays, with everything that's going on in the world, I actually don't know how you could. I don't know how you could sit at a dinner table with your spouse as you're talking about where to send your kids to school, how to raise your children, what decisions to make with your income if you guys have differing views on policy. I mean, does it work for anyone? Like, I'm genuinely curious if it can.
People who say they don't care about politics, for me, is a giant red flag. Like, you either have strongly held opinions that you don't want to defend, or you are so insulated by privilege that you don't have to give a fuck about anything because you're going to be just fine, right? Everything is political.
So I don't know if anybody else is struggling with this, but on every date that I've been on recently, I find out that these guys are extreme conservative MAGA guys. And that might not be posted on their apps or their prompts, or you might not know that going in. And then I find out, and it's a big problem for me because I've been having these guys tell me that they have a lack or inability to have empathy for masses that don't directly affect them. I had a guy tell me last night that he doesn't care about people personally that are not in his life, and it doesn't affect him. Like, if it doesn't affect him, then he doesn't care about it. And that really bothered me because I've had a lot of guys these days like tell me that they don't feel empathy for people of different socioeconomic statuses or going through different problems. And I think this was really heavily related to the ICE raids and lack of empathy for people losing their families and losing their lives over these things. So As a like progressive person, but also as a person who really tries to care about other people in her community, I find it a huge struggle these days to date amongst the rise of Trumpism and conservatism in young men.
I thought we had a good time. I definitely am a little concerned that you didn't vote, though.
I may have just said that.
I was a little concerned. I was like, this was a big one.
I voted.
You voted. You did vote.
Yes, but I don't make that. It's not a part of me.
So you lied.
I didn't lie. I did say to her, I said, no. I did vote, but I just... I mean, again, this is not a big part of my life. Like, I understand if it's big for you.
I understand that.
But, like, I'm not, yeah.
I get that. Can we ask who you voted for?
I mean, I just feel like that's a little personal, offensive.
That's fair.
If you want to keep it to yourself, that's
No, yeah, I am, and but no, it's not a big part of me. I don't feel like wasting my time and energy in something that I cannot control. So,
If it wasn't a big part of him, he wouldn't have voted in the first place. Let's not fuck around and bullshit. You voted specifically because there was something attractive about Trump that made you vote for him. Something that you align with that made you fucking vote for him. Don't bullshit do not bullshit.
I just don't go there.
I equate our dating culture right now to the political climate that we have also. And what I mean by that is that we have become intolerant of people. In the dating scheme, we have become intolerant of people's flaws. Instead of understanding that you are dating another human, when there is conflict, meaning my worldview and your worldview don't exactly align and there has to be some negotiation there. When that happens, we are quick to walk away, myself included. I'm totally guilty. Everyone just wants to automatically be with somebody who's healed and perfect. But what's funny is that even if you've done all the shadow work and gone to therapy and this and that, there's no such thing as healed. And the thing about healing is that it's not a pretty process. Usually the process is very ugly and disgusting, and it might hurt a little bit. It definitely is going to be uncomfortable to the person processing it in their own life, but it might also be uncomfortable for the people around them witnessing, going along the journey with them. So I equate that to our political landscape, where before there used to be a spectrum, you were on the left, you were on the right, somewhere in the middle. But now it feels like if you say you're somewhere in the middle, it's not a thing, that you have to be one way or the other. And that feels, again, intolerant of the gray area, which there always is in our human existence. There is so much gray area. Coming from a lawyer who dabbles in all that gray area. Now listen, I'm not here to tell you how to act politically or tell you how to act in your dating life. Merely an observation.
Can I ask you,
Damn, how many fucking commercials?
who you voted for?
That's a tough question. Look at all of these lovely people.
I'm scared.
Is that going to be the out for me? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Well.
that's going to be it.
All right. And that's all she wrote.
Bye-bye.
Give it up for Matt, everybody. Thanks for shooting your shot, buddy. Good luck. Great hair. Wow.
He's going back to God's country.
Would you ever consider dating someone who has a different political view than yours?
I mean, some things can differ, but there's a lot that I would want to be similar in terms of things like social justice and stuff like that.
Would you say that politics should get in the way of love?
Honestly, I don't think I'm going to relate to someone well enough to be able to form that type of connection if they have such contrasting views to me on, like, basic human rights.
I think, obviously, if you choose to get married and you still have those different political views or what have you, I hope you've discussed how that's going to look if things come up, because I think that's where it cannot end up going well, is if you don't have a, before talk of getting married, hey, if stuff comes up, how are we going to handle this together? Is it because, you don't want to end up divorced?
For me, politics were never for me. I understand there's certain things that change, but I
don't even like getting in the topic with women. I just avoid it.
Here, tell me that story, because it was about, I think she said who you voted for. I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah. So I go out to a bar, older woman, beautiful, blonde hair, blue eyes. And all of a sudden the topic comes up and she asked me, what do you think of Trump? And I was just honest.
I've been asked that.
Like, political bullshit aside, I just like the man he is because he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what people fear the most. Yeah. And she was a true feminist.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and that's why she hated him, but she couldn't come up with any legitimate reasons why she hated him. And that's most people. They just hate him because media crucified him. He speaks his mind. They can't handle that. And you know what? I mean, I still went over her place a couple dates later. It didn't make a difference.
Do you believe that a Republican and a Democrat can date each other successfully and have a good relationship? This person says it's impossible. And I would venture to say a lot of people would say that as well. I actually don't think people would have thought it was impossible maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago. But now I feel like a lot of people think it is. And I'm curious on your thoughts. Like, you have to drop your thoughts in the comments on this. I am not a political person. I don't share my political affiliations. Honestly, I don't care about politics that much. There's certain things that I do care about, but I don't like to talk about politics. People can't talk about it and like keep a sound mind. They freak out. However, I will say that my last relationship, that was a pretty good relationship overall, besides his commitment issues, he and I voted very differently. Now, again, I don't talk about politics, so I'm not going to go into what he believed versus what I believed, but we could not be more opposite. And it worked fine. I could understand his perspective. He could understand my perspective. I understood his more than he understood mine because he was more political than me. But there was just certain things we really just didn't talk about because we knew it was going to piss each other off. And then there were certain things we still agreed on, even though we voted very differently. I'm curious, no matter what side you're on, do you think this is possible? Rocket.
I'm only going to make one comment about what you asked me about, because the topic is about women dating MAGA Trump supporters. And what I have to say is, I don't condone genocide of any kind for any people. And I'm going to leave that there.
Thoughts in the comments.
But when you see somebody with opposing views, is that a red flag for you?
In our current world, and I hate to say this, but yes.
Is that new in the last 2 years, or has that always been for you?
It's new. It's becoming a thing now. Maybe 5 years ago, it wasn't. And that's a lot of it's because I've changed as a person, my opinions.
I think society's changed too.
But the world is changing.
Yeah. And when I was growing up, I don't think we ever knew what anybody was thinking politically. And though this is hard because it's so divisive, I think it's good because you get to know who you are and what you really like and what you believe. And I think that's what COVID changed for all of us in a good way. Okay, what do I believe? What do I believe? And I think a line in the sand gets drawn, right? When you're like, okay, I do believe this. I don't know if I want to, I can be friends with you, I can love you, but I don't think I want to be married to somebody who, yes. I mean, I convinced my husband he had white privilege. I thought I was a complete liberal because I cared about the environment. I thought all those things. And he put up with me. But would he now? No. No, he would put up with me because we're married. But if I were to die and he were to date again,
would he choose you?
He wouldn't choose somebody with those values.
I'm genuinely curious. For those of you who are in a relationship with somebody who has different political views than you, what do you talk about? What do you talk about? Like, I can understand a marriage or a relationship thriving 40 years ago. You don't have to talk about politics. So if you're in a marriage or a relationship with somebody who doesn't have the same views as you, that's fine. You didn't need to even worry about it. They come home, honey, how was your day? Fine. What did you do? Oh, I saw a man walking on the road with a dog with 3 legs. Oh, that's great, honey. Now it's like, oh, hey, Charlie Kirk was shot. Well, I mean, that one's a bad example. Everyone has to agree that that was the worst thing that could possibly happen, because if you don't have a soul. But like Jimmy Kimmel getting canned. Oh, one of you likes him, one of you doesn't. Uh-oh. That's an argument, right? Or like, do you guys talk about it? Do you not talk about it? Is it awkward? Do you sweep it under the rug? Like, or, Stephen Colbert, I don't even know because I don't watch him. But like, what do you guys do? You guys talk about him? Do you not? Do you talk about everyday news? Or what? Please let me know. I'm so curious. Okay, let me know.
Someone once asked me if it was a turnoff for me if somebody wasn't really interested in politics, since it's clearly a big passion of mine.
And no, it's not, because I will talk about it enough that it will become a passion for you. Because once you hear of all of the injustice and just corruption and ridiculous shit that goes on, I would hope that you're the kind of person that wouldn't be able to stop yourself from being invested in caring. Now, what would be a turnoff, and is a turnoff if I was ever single again, is if I went on a first date and that person was a Trump supporter. That would be the last date that we would ever go on. I don't think there's any saving you. On the flip side, we go on a first date and you say that you're a Bernie bro. Turn on. Huge, massive turn on. Honestly, you being a Bernie bro is more of a turn on for me than if you're tall. Honestly. Like, it's pretty big.
Day now on Bubble.
I mean, fucking commercials, my God.
One thing that I realized that is extremely important when it comes to dating someone is that you must find out about their political view. You have to question them because whether you like it or not, their answer will determine the outcome of your relationship with that person in the near future.
Mm-hmm.
It will determine how your life is going to be like when you have kids with that person. Now, some people would tell you that they're not into politics, which is understandable. Some people may not be into politics, but you still have to ask them some real political questions. Like, do you believe kids should be able to change their sex before puberty, right? You have to ask them those real questions so you know exactly where your foot is at. People tend to avoid the tough questions and go straight into a relationship or having kids with that person, okay? But then later down in life, they realize, yo, this is not the person I wanted to be with. This is not the person I wanted to have kids with. Or they may believe that, oh, this person changed. No, that person never changed. That's who they was the entire time. You never ask them those real political questions. You never really ask them the question that actually means something to them. Because the fact that you missed out on those questions, now it's too late. All right, now you have a big issue with that person because you never really asked them the things that makes the persons themselves.
He's a 10 out of 10, but he voted for Donald Trump.
I don't really care, to be honest. Yeah.
That wouldn't affect you either way.
No.
You guys ever let politics get in the way of dating?
No. It's actually really hard. I've dated someone that's like really racist, and yeah, it's hard. I'm like, it's hard.
What party were they?
Republican.
Really racist?
Yeah. I'm like, he was. I'm not saying Republicans are racist. He was really, really racist. I'm like, I'm not saying that about the parties at all. I'm like, why are we getting into politics?
People think it's attractive to say that they're non-political now. Like, I don't really understand. Are you saying that you don't understand how the world works around you? Are you saying that you're not interested in how the world works around you? Are you saying that you do understand how the world works around you, but you're actively choosing to like disengage from it and not pay attention? That's so lame and unattractive. Like, being political is cool. Having empathy and curiosity is really cool. Being intrigued and curious about the world is fucking sexy. Like, you're adults. We're all adults. We should want to be curious and want to know about how the world operates around us. We should be interested in the power structures that define our everyday life. And like, we should also be reading the fucking news and following the news and understanding what's going on in the world. It's not cool to say you don't care. It's not cool to say you're not interested in what's going on around you. It's not sexy to say that bores you. Like, what are we doing here?
From blended households to first dates cut short, people across the country are opening up about the tension, compromise, and emotional challenges that come with politically mixed relationships. Their stories reveal just how complicated and eye-opening love across the aisle can be.
Once dating someone, if you found out that they vote the complete opposite of you, would you continue to get to know them, or is that something that would be a deal breaker? Does it come down to morals and values? How do you feel about that? I went on a few dates with someone who I met, I think on the dating apps a couple of years ago. We tried a couple of times, and he's here on TikTok and we follow each other, so he'll know who he is. but we voted completely opposite of each other. And I think we both tried to laugh about it and just try to move past it. But I felt like our conversations always came back to politics. I felt like he just kept bringing it up even when I tried to like not talk about it.
I'm so sad. My friend went on a date last night, a 4th date, mind you, with a man who didn't vote. We need to start asking that question up front, ladies, because bamboozled into 4 dates with a man who's not politically active, that doesn't get involved. What? Oh, you're not political? You're not going out with me. Okay.
I was talking to a college guy the other day, and I said, he's single, and I know this girl's single. I said, what about her? Oh, yeah, she's hot. They said, well, why don't you ask her out? Our politics don't match up. I said, what? Are you kidding me? Wait a minute. Have things changed that much? When I was in college, politics? We're not talking religion here. What? If a girl I met and she was a Democrat, guess what? I'm a Democrat. She's a Republican, I'm a Republican. If all of a sudden she said, I'm joining this basic cult where we sacrifice bulls and toads in this pond, I was just thinking about joining that. You think I'm turning down a good piece of friendship over politics? You bet you thought I was going to say piece of ass, didn't you? Get your mind out of the gutter. It's not that kind of website.
Would you consider dating someone with a different political view?
Why this is important to women, and I know a lot of men don't get it, especially white men, is that they want to revoke women's right to vote, and they've already have caused women's death by eliminating procedures for women concerning having miscarriages and things like that in these Republican states. They've caused health issues for these women, and women have actually died behind these policies. So when men say politics aren't that serious for women, it's very serious. In the climate that we live in, it's very, very serious. Politics are extremely serious because her life can be in jeopardy behind these politics, period.
No, absolutely not. No, they're mentally deranged. There's no way.
Okay, but what if he's perfect though? He's like super cute, super cute.
Probably vaccinated and has like pronouns in bio and like things that like kids mutilate themselves at 12 years old.
No way.
No, there's no way. There's no way. There's no compatibility. So,
what if if you maybe change him, maybe, or no?
I mean, I don't.
Like, would you be willing to change him?
The investment?
Yeah.
No, it's too far gone. If you survived 2020 and didn't realize that like the world is upside down, it's it's an intellectual issue at that point.
Hey, have you ever had a problem with your partner because of their political belief? Like, oh my God, my girlfriend's a Democrat. Or, oh my God, my boyfriend, he loves Trump. I had a client call me up and thank me for helping her get back into the dating world. She found a guy that was like great, great in the bedroom, great financially. But then he called her up and said he had to attend a Trump rally. And this woman was so shocked and so aghast. It's like the Black Plague had entered her relationship. Now, I know some of you will chime in and say, well, Donald Trump is the Black Plague. I get it on the whole Trump thing. But if your partner's a woke Democrat, I mean, how can you have a partner like that, right?
Did you vote this year? I mean, last year, last
Last election, major election.
I usually hang out with like 300 million folks in minus 80-degree weather and occasionally teach a lesson to a party.
Tell us why you broke it.
So I am very political. I come from a political background in my family. And so for me, voting was, how can I explain this in the best and nice way? Voting for me is a deal breaker because it tells me where you stand when it comes to majority things of where, I'll pick that up later, where it comes to like how you view the world or just economy or just even how you want the next generation to be. So a lot of it, voting does have a big impact on me. So I'm sorry.
Very political girls are always unattractive. I've never met one girl that's a political science study major and is super into politics and AOC and blah, blah, blah. And she's a dime. She's a smoke show. No. The most attractive girls are complete airheads. They don't care about anything. They don't want to care about anything, and that's why we like them.
What's your political identification?
I would consider myself a leftist.
And how do you feel about Republicans?
I feel Republicans have every right to practice their belief the same way that I do, but simultaneously, I think where my issue with Republicans comes from is if you are not understanding what it is that you're preaching, and if you're not educated on the actual implications of your beliefs, that's where I kind of don't support Republicanism.
So would you be friends with one?
Of course I would. I have tons of Republican friends, 100%.
Would you date one?
Yeah, I'd date a Republican. I don't know if I'd marry a Republican, but I would date a Republican. That doesn't discriminate.
One of the most heartbreaking things in the world is meeting someone and looking at their following list and finding out that your politics don't align. And it's like, how did you make it through? How in any way have I agreed with anything that you've said thus far? Like, I truly believe that if you're gonna have like any kind of like lasting relationship with someone, you have to agree on those things. Those are like fundamental things that you have to agree on. The core values when it comes to politics. Like me personally, I don't think that I could ever be in a relationship with a woman who I was gonna have children with. And if we had a daughter, she does not believe that my daughter has a right to choose. I simply just could not, I could not be with a woman like that.
You meet the man of your dreams, right?
Uh-huh.
Caring, supportive, committed. But he voted for Donald Trump.
It probably is not going to happen.
Okay.
If you are educated and understand the difference between the actual Republican Party and Donald Trump, I can respect that.
Okay.
But Donald Trump is just not an actual politician. He's a piece of shit felon that assaults women. I just can't get behind that. And that's a hard line for me. It's a very, very hard line for me.
It's interesting to see how politics plays a role in dating. Just 20 years ago, politics was insignificant in dating. It was not a topic that was brought up, definitely not brought up on a first date. If your partner has an opposing political view, it's completely fine. Today, it's one of the top metrics behind whether or not you want to match someone is politics.
This is a question for guys that are dating. Are you now more so than ever weeding out people that have different political views than you? Like if you're Republican, you will not date anyone that is a liberal, or if you're a liberal, you are not going to date anyone that's Republican, vice versa. It seems to me that women that are liberal want nothing to do with any Republican man. But do guys now take that into big consideration when you are looking for your mate? I would assume it would create a lot of unnecessary.
No, they don't, because a lot of these MAGA don't give a fuck about what women think. They have the mentality that the men of the past who were anti-feminists or the feminist movement, they don't consider women having self-autonomy. They don't consider, they see women as a possession. And that's the problem. So these hardened MAGA supporters, they don't really care. They don't really care about women's views. This is why you hear the manosphere and these Trump supporters in the manosphere saying that they want to take women's right to vote away and things like that. They want to roll back all of the things that help women with their autonomy. They don't want that for women.
Conflict in a home when there are these big, country impacts. And yeah, so I'm just curious, out in the dating world, is this now something that weighs more heavily on whether you're going to move forward with someone or not?
Could you date somebody that has polar opposite political views from you? Like, let's say you're like a raging MAGA person. Could you date somebody who's like far left, liberal, Democrat? I don't know if it's possible.
If a guy has moderate as his political views and a dating app, then ladies, he is a keeper because he...
Yes, yeah, he's a Republican. He's a Republican who wants to have sex with liberals and leftists and blue-haired, tatted, mommy, goth GFs. Like, yes, he is your kind of guy. He doesn't want you, though. He's
literally like trying to attract people that are, if he was trying to attract you, he would have put Republican. And it is embarrassing that that's a well-known thing, because I agree, it is. It's very obvious nowadays. Not a Republican. I know the code. Sorry.
When it comes to dating, I do not believe in political intermarriage. This is just a values thing. Since 2012, when I was in college, I've been asking guys who they vote for before going on a first date with them. It's actually been an amazing knockout question. I'm a busy girl. I'm not wasting my time. It was actually 2012 on election night when the guy I was seeing at the time first saw me cry. I obviously have liberal friends. It was a liberal friend who actually gifted me this shirt. But they probably did it more as a warning to others than a gift to me. I mean, when given a choice between Romney and Obama, Romney at the time being a palatable moderate Republican, against a second-term Obama, as a first-term were forgivable, then you could simply never be the father of my children.
Never marry someone with different political views as you, because I was in a relationship where we had different political views. We get into therapy and our therapist was like, here's the reality of this situation. You guys can talk about anything you want to talk about. You guys can have different religious views, but the time in which that no one remains curious and no one remains respectful to one another, then this will never be a good relationship.
Let me take my mouthpiece out. Hey, Big J. I've got to say what Big J says. Big J says he refuses to date or have sex with any MAGA woman. I don't care how good she looks. I'm glad you said that, Big J. I am so glad you said that, because it's very strange that a lot of these MAGA men and red pillars that voted for Trump are not trying to date these MAGA women. Why aren't these fucking MAGA men trying to date MAGA women? Why are they going after these women that are Democratic or left-leaning? Why are they all trying to go after them? Why are they not trying to go after the women that align with their fucking viewpoints? That's the question.
And that's basically what occurred. So the person who voted opposite of me always had something severely hateful to say about the other party, whether it was wishing them death and all this other crazy stuff. I mean, we can choose whatever we want. We can work around people who hate us. I had so much of that growing up that I really, really take my time in who I date and who I'm around now.
If you
Style hack for women over
These
50.
commercials.
Try this 10-piece Amazon capsule. I'm the same age.
think it's a problem for anyone to ask you any political questions on a first date, you're the reason people are asking those questions. I'm a queer Hispanic woman, right? Like, if your politics do not align with my politics, that means that you probably don't really care about the livelihood of people like me or people who are significantly more disenfranchised than I am. And we probably wouldn't have that much fun around each other anyway. So why is it an issue to bring it up right off the bat when you're picking your life partner? Like, dating is, in theory, you're meant to be pursuing a life partner if that's, like, the path that you're choosing, right? Like, so why is it a problem to start that off with, do we have the same moral alignment? Duh.
Politics absolutely matter when it comes to dating. And this can be different for everybody depending on your race, your gender identity. But if you are dating somebody who does not align with you politically, that means you have fundamental value differences. Now, you can be with somebody and not agree 100% politically with them. That's totally fine. But when you have differences in values, what you believe is right or wrong, that directly impacts your political beliefs as well. So yes, politics and dating matter.
I really do worry that some women are becoming too far left to date. And I don't mean that they're so far left in their own politics that men don't want to date them. I don't necessarily think that's the case. But I do think that a lot of them are so far left, so far into their echo chambers that they can no longer socialize normally, no matter what the guy's politics are. Like, I saw a video of a girl saying, just been on a date with a man for the first time in ages, and I fear I've become too woke to date men anymore. Now, she isn't saying that she had one bad date because the guy was a Trump supporter or something like that. She's literally just realizing that she's spent so long in her echo chamber that she no longer fits into the world outside it. Second case in point, that recent Vogue article about is having a boyfriend embarrassing now? Which is one thing because obviously it's just one article and could just be clickbait, but if you go into the comments anytime it's posted, you'll see that a lot of women genuinely do feel that way. People saying it feels Republican to have a boyfriend, or maybe I'm too woke, but wifey material sounds like an insult. But I think that a lot of this is a function of two different things, and neither of them is the fact that it's actually embarrassing to have a boyfriend. First, the gender divide between men and women is really freaking strong, and it's getting way worse in Gen Z. Here in the US, we don't have it as bad as, say, South Korea, but it still is really pronounced. And women are the ones getting more extreme to the left than men are to the right, basically across the board globally. But the second aspect that I don't think enough people talk about is that the echo chamber that a lot of these women are in, if they're political, especially online, means that they don't interact with normal people on a regular basis. The bulk of a lot of these women's social interactions on a regular basis is TikTok or other social media, or their friend groups after they've already canceled out everyone who disagrees with them. So they don't remember how to socialize outside of their bubbles, and dating is the only way that has a chance to happen. Unfortunately, I do think that this issue is going to be self-perpetuating because these women are the exact same ones who won't have boyfriends to chill them out, because apparently that's embarrassing.
Break up with your Republican boyfriends. Ladies, I don't think you understand the amount of social capital that you hold. By continuing to date these...
This is what the problem is. The problem is that Republican once meant something different than what Republican means now. Republican now means alignment with neo-Nazis. Republican now means racism. Republican now, not saying that racism didn't exist in the previous Republican Party, but is very prominent now. Racism against everybody, classism, sexism. The Republican Party now has a stigma because of MAGA and Trump that I don't think that the Republican Party can survive after Trump is out, after what is happening now gets corrected. I think that the stigma that Trump has placed upon the Republican Party has completely annihilated the Republican Party at this point, because there is no dissection from the good Republican and the MAGA Republican at this point.
Republican men or not political or didn't vote guys, you are inadvertently supporting this movement with one, your body and your affection, and two, not allowing these men, usually who I'm speaking on, men, to understand the consequences of their action. They voted against you. They voted against your body. They voted against your rights. And here we are. I'm saying we because I used to be guilty of it too, supporting and getting into relationships with the people that hold these values deeply. Even if they say that they didn't vote or they're not into politics, there is no such thing anymore. Either you're about what's going on or you're vehemently against it. I just feel like I wish I could go back and tell 22-year-old me, like, it's not worth being in a relationship with someone who sees the world so differently than you, who votes against you so severely. It's never worth it.
The voices you've heard today remind us that dating in 2026 will be more complex than ever, especially when politics enters the relationship. These stories show the real emotions, real challenges, and real moments of connection that happen when people try to bridge their differences. Whether these couples make it work or walk away, their experiences highlight just how deeply politics touches our personal lives. If this video gave you insight into what dating across the aisle truly looks like, please like, comment, subscribe, and share to keep the conversation going. And click the video on your screen to explore more stories shaping relationships in America today.
Oh, another commercial. Goddamn. Well, there you have it. Many women explaining why they will not date MAGA. They will not date the red pill MAGA mindset men. and why the this loneliness that these men are feeling are going to continue. These women they're fed up. They're fed up with the mindset of these men. So at what point are these men going to listen to what these women have to say and take it to heart and make changes? Because they definitely need to make changes. Part of the reason why that the birth rates are declining is because of the MAGA mindset. That's part of it. I'm not saying that Trump, was the fault of the economic structure being faulty and people just knowing they can't afford children. But under this administration and the previous administration with Trump, it's pushing people more and more and further apart from each other to not want to have children and not want to have relationships. So this is something that needs to be examined. If you really want to produce families, I think if you're a man, I think you need to really consider what's happening in the United States, especially, and all over the world, but what's happening here. Big J says it's economics and education. It's everything. It's a multitude of things. But I just wanted to play this, Big J, so men can hear what women are saying and why they don't want to date these type of men. And they're not giving these type of men a chance. Why they're not giving MAGA men a chance and they don't want to date them. So I'm going to end the live stream. I'll give you a call, Big J. All right. That's the end of the live stream. Have a good night. It's a full moon tonight. If you're into the full moon, it's a wolf full moon. And put your crystals out there and charge your crystals.